Welcome to the You Are Your Name podcast. My name is Dakin Ariel, your host for this episode. This podcast series is based on the teachings of the Keplerian philosophy. The philosophy teaches the mathematical principle, which explains how our names create our thinking pattern. Because our thinking shapes our life, it affects every aspect of our life. We don't expect you to take this at face value. We really want you to prove it for yourself. So the question for this podcast is, how can I prove this principle of name to myself? And the simplest and most direct way is to visit our website at www.youareyourname.com, which will forward you to www.cabularians.com, or you can go there directly at KABALARIANS.com. Our website has over 700,000 first names analyzed for those named using the English language. So you can type in the first names of 10 friends or family members or colleagues and read the brief summaries of their first names. So then you can ask yourself, is this accurate? And if so, you have empirical evidence that this principle is worth investigating further. To really test this principle thoroughly, order your own free name and birth date report. Enter your legal names and most used names, plus any nicknames that you might have used in the past. Add your date of birth to get an insight into your inner nature, and the report will give you a snapshot of your thinking patterns during the times that you use those particular names. The name report includes telephone support so that you can ask one of our name consultants any questions you may have on the report. The best proof of this principle is when you can analyze everyone you meet in your daily life. This is only possible when you learn the detailed understanding provided by our online training. In the module called Life Analysis Training, you learn the qualities and the mechanics of name analysis. You can use this understanding to practice analyzing names of people from your past or present and look to validate or disprove this principle. It's hard not to see the mathematical qualities of names once you're aware of them. You'll also understand why they are the way they are, why they think the way they do. You'll observe how people interact and express in predictable ways based on their mathematical makeup. When you complete the cycle management training module, you can observe how your thinking will change from cycle to cycle. When you start to use your cycle in planning your efforts, you will become more effective, but also you will gain a unique understanding of the facets of consciousness as it expresses through time. Time is a potential for conscious growth. The more we become aware of these natural rhythms of mind, the greater the balance we can create in our life. When you complete the healthy living module, you'll recognize how the systems of our physical body will reflect the mathematical balance or tensions of the names we use. You will gain a greater control of your health through these insights. The final module of our introductory training is perhaps the most important. It will introduce you to mental freedom and how it can be attained. Mental freedom represents the conscious expression of mind. Mind has to master itself and its lower emotions to be a free expression of consciousness. This takes time and effort, but the training gives you all the basic tools you'll need to create it. Learning to apply the mathematical principle in our lives opens up a whole new perspective on mind. James Joseph Sylvester wrote, "Mathematics is the music of reason." When we recognize the mathematical principle working through mind, time, our physical health, and mental freedom, we're seeing reason from a much broader and more universal perspective. Let's say you build up an understanding and you come to recognize that this mathematical principle is valid. The Keplerian philosophy often recommends a name change for those with names that may be restricting their happiness, health, and success. The ideal is that every person should use a mathematically balanced name. When you begin to use balanced names, that is the ultimate proof of this principle. You'll observe your thinking change and become more harmonious. You'll overcome the restrictions and limitations of your past names. You'll develop new mental qualities that you never had. This is the most awe-inspiring stage of the learning process. You will observe greater harmony and balance seep into your entire life. Mahatma Gandhi once said, "Be the change that you wish to see in the world." If we want greater balance in the world, it starts with our own thinking. Balanced thinking will create greater balance in our health. It will build happier relationships. It will allow us to create a more constructive and progressive life. And collectively, we're responsible for the world we live in. As we bring harmony into our thinking, we help bring balance into the world. For this episode, we'll be describing a name combination that includes the names of George, Norman, Harrison, Jonah, Donna, and Sharon. These names all have the same mathematical formulas, so the summary applies to them all equally. Our presenter, Laura Brown, is a Caballerian student of long standing, and she has volunteered as an instructor for our online courses for many years and is very qualified to discuss this principle.
George is a complex nature. He often has a dual personality, really. He can be so friendly and humorous and full of fun, outgoing and expressive, or very reserved. He won't meet and mix, and he can be quite moody and quiet. George is a quick and deep thinker. He's often interested in the mysteries of life, and he can be perceptive and philosophical. But he has those mood swings. So perhaps he's out with friends at a karaoke night, because George loves to sing. So he gets up there and he starts to sing. And then there's a table in the corner, and they're having a good time, and they're laughing, paying no attention to him. And that's like an insult to him. And so he just stops in the middle of the song and walks off. And his friends say, "Well, what's wrong, George?" There may be silence, or he might just say, "Nothing," but he doesn't speak for the rest of the evening. So George can be so giving and thoughtful and loving and charming if he's in the right mood, but he's so changeable. He can be so jealous and suspicious. So perhaps he's at a party with his wife, and everything's going fine, he's having a good time, and then he sees his wife dancing with an old school chum. They've been friends for years and years and years, and they're laughing, cavorting, and oh, it's so hard for him because he feels he can't make her laugh like that. He's so insecure. Perhaps his wife notices that George is quiet. So on the way home in the car, she says, "Well, wasn't that a nice party? Did you have a good time, George?" And he'll say, "Oh, guess not, the way you were throwing yourself at that man." And of course she gets incensed and she may say, "Let me out of the car, I'm walking home." And he feels bad, but he can't help himself because he feels so insecure. But he loves singing and music and drama. He's so moved by beautiful music, or perhaps some scene in nature, walking in nature, or some aspect of fine art, or perhaps words about life that have meaning and depth, maybe poetry or beautiful prose. George loves to read, and he can become totally absorbed in a story and just lose track of time. George is very sensitive to feelings and thoughts of others. He feels so much more than he can express. He can be emotional and lacking in system and concentration. He can be optimistic and kind of take life as it comes and not very practical, and that's hard on his partner. George is often taken advantage of in business because he lacks shrewdness and finds it difficult to face issues. With his friends, he can be very quiet with new acquaintances or the life of party with friends. With health, he may suffer with heart and lung and bronchial problems, a weak back, skin rashes, or liver problems. So in conclusion, George is very difficult to understand. He doesn't understand himself. So his life can be just ups and downs, no stability.
Don't forget to get your free name and birth date reports from our website so that you can see how your names are influencing your thinking and therefore your life. Visit www.caballarians.com. That's KABALARIANS.com, or www.youareyourname.com, which will get you to the same site. Whenever you're ready, here are 3 ways we can help you. Number 1, the Balanced Name Recommendation Service. Join the thousands of others who have harmonized their names with their inner potential to improve their health, happiness, and success. Number 2, learn the principles of mental freedom. Participate in our online training program to gain the essential tools to create all the progressive changes you seek in your life. These proven truths will open up new perspectives and accelerate your attainment of health, happiness, and success. Number 3, let Kalex Solutions help you choose a balanced name for your business because many business names are an impediment to one's overall business success.